Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, who should the Toronto Raptors keep in off-season free agency or in free agency? So that's the topic I'm going to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, be sure to check out our Dreamerspro Short Clips channel, which we have linked in the description below, and our Dreamerspro Podcast, which is there for you guys. For those of you guys who like to consume content via audio, that is there for you. So let's just get straight into it. There's going to be a lot of off-season movement. As you all know, it's going to be a frantic off-season, and the NBA is looking to have a restart, let's say mid-December. I don't know when, but there's some people are saying a few days before Christmas Day, but I don't know yet. That has not been finalized. Some of the news I've heard is that some players have pushed back on that idea, saying that, listen, that's too quick of a restart. And the NBA is like, no, we're not going to mess up our money because there's a lot of money on the table. And the NBA is proposing about 72 games. Now, I can understand some players saying that's a little bit too early, given especially the playoff teams that probably went deep into the playoffs, the Miami Heat, the Lakers of the world. But other teams that have been off for 4 seasons, during the global pandemic, who are not even in the bubble, and even for all the other general teams who are off for 4 months, I don't really see the big issue of coming back so soon. But that's just me. I'm not an NBA player, so I don't know. So that's just my opinion. But anyway, let's talk about the Toronto Raptors free agency movement that they need to make and the decisions that they need to make. And they do need to make quite a few, to be quite honest with you. Now, I've decided to sort of focus on 2 particular players here, but if I give you the complete list of players that they have that are free agents this off season, we have Marc Gasol. He's a free agent. Serge Ibaka, Fred VanVleet, Stanley Johnson, and Rondé Hollins-Jefferson, Chris Boeser. Man, I hope I pronounced these guys' names properly. I hope I didn't butcher it too bad. But anyway, these are the players that they have currently on the free agency market, so to speak. So now I decided that I wanted to focus on 2 specific players. In this particular video, we're focusing on Fred VanVleet and Serge Ibaka, right? Because I think these 2 players are very, very important, including Marc Gasol. But I just decided to focus on these 2 guys because that's what I decided. So anyway, let's talk about Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet has been a really great player for the team. If you look at his numbers last season, he averaged 17.6 points a game, which is solid. 3.8 rebounds, 6.6 assists. Man, even even in the playoffs, he did a pretty good job with his averages. It was right around where he averaged for the regular season, and he really put out some good numbers. And it was the run that he went on, especially a year ago, not this season, but a year prior, was absolutely amazing. I mean, he was just a hidden gem that just sort of just came out of nowhere and was hitting huge shots for the Toronto Raptors all throughout the playoffs, kind of like a Derek Fisher or something like this. It was incredible. Even in the NBA Finals, man, Fred VanVleet was just sensational, and he really, really played an important part in helping the Toronto Raptors capture their first title. If you look at Serge Ibaka again was also very important. For his defense that he played, he hit a lot of timely mid-range baskets. He played, he really brought a lot of fire to the team, a lot of intensity, and he also was a very important contributor in the Toronto Raptors winning that championship. They don't win that championship with either of these players and the contributions that they had to that team. If you watch their playoff run, which I did in its entirety, there's no way we can discount the importance of Serge Ibaka and Fred VanVleet to the Toronto Raptors. And I'm sure Toronto Raptors fans that are probably going to watch this episode here are most likely going to agree with me if they actually followed the team. Now, let's talk about making a decision between these 2 players, because I think it's a tough one and it's not as cut and dry as maybe some of you may think it is. So I broke it down in some interesting categories here. So let's just talk about Serge Ibaka. What does Serge Ibaka bring to the table? Number 1, he brings size. He's a very big player. For his size, he's very tall. They have him listed here as 7 feet tall. So he's a very big guy. He averaged 15.4 points for them, 8.2 rebounds, and 1.4 assists. So he's a big guy. He brings a lot of size. He brings a defense. He's a great defensive player. Sometimes he's known as Serge Ibaka because he gets a lot of blocks. He blocks shots. He's a great defensive anchor, and he sways a lot of drives to the basket, because when you see a shot blocker in the basket, smaller guards or people driving to the basket tend to think twice and most likely alter their shot, which creates a more difficult shot, which decreases their field goal percentage, shooting percentage. Also, his experience. He started off his career with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think he went to the playoffs, even went to the finals the first year. Then he moved over to the Toronto Raptors. He's been with them. He's been in the playoffs so many times. And also his edge. Serge Ibaka is known to, get in a fight. He'll fight you. He'll go in there and tussle with some guys. And every team needs that type of player that has that edge on him, so other teams can't just come in here and just keep messing with all your teammates. So that's what he brings to the team. Now, his age, however, he's 31 years old, and he's making $21.6 million. That's his salary, or expected salary. If we look at Fred VanVleet, on the other hand, he's a much shorter player. I think Fred VanVleet should be listed at 6 feet? 6'1". Okay, so he's 6'1". He's a great player, great size, kind of stocky, for his size. He has great playmaking. He can see the court very well. Now, granted, he's not that tall, right? He's not like a 6'3", 6'4" point guard that can see over the defense very easily. But nevertheless, he has great court vision. He knows when to make the pass. He doesn't over dribble. He plays into the system that they have there. He's a great shooter, which is something that cannot be underestimated. He's a great shooter, so he provides a lot of spacing on the floor for them. He's a clutch shooter, which is something that's also quite important, so they can keep him in games, late in games, and he's always going to be a threat. And with his free throw shooting ability, also adds another additional bonus to the team that they need, especially in tight situations. So having a guy like that on your team only helps you. And also, he's a team player. Fred VanVleet looks like he's just a no-nonsense guy who goes about his business of playing basketball and just winning, right? Doesn't have too much drama, not too much bells and whistles, right? I like Patrick Beverley, for example, but, these guys essentially play the same position, but Patrick Beverley is a little bit more rah, talks a little bit more. He'll find some quotes about him in the media, whereas Fred VanVleet, you rarely hear anything about him. You rarely hear anything about the guy. Now, he's 26 years old, so he's actually, 5 years younger than Serge Ibaka, and he's slated to make $9 million a year. So, if we're deciding, I'm not a GM, I'm not a team president, looking at these two players, both of them have their pluses that they bring to the team. The only major discrepancies are two. Number one, the salary difference. The salary is bigger. Now, I don't know if Fred VanVleet is slated to make more money. I don't know that. Maybe he's, going to make more money at the end of this season. Who knows? I don't know that. But it's a big difference in the salary. It's almost a $12 million, difference in their salaries. And that's going to play a big role, right? So if you had to make a decision, looking at their age, looking at their salary, conventional wisdom can tell you, hey, listen, man, Fred VanVleet is younger and he's cheaper, so it may be easier to keep him. But then again, if you don't keep him, and then you decide to get rid of, if you do keep him and you decide to get rid of Serge Ibaka, remember, you're now left with Marc Gasol, who is 35 years old, and you now need to go figure out who you're going to get to replace Serge Ibaka for his size, defense, and all the things I mentioned. Is his mid-range shooting, which he's very good at. And you're gonna go out. You're gonna have to go out there and replace him, and also possibly replace another Marc Gasol who's getting older. So that's one aspect of it. If you decide to keep Serge Ibaka, finding another point guard and a playmaker should not be that hard in today's NBA. So I think it's a tough decision. If you put a gun to my head, who would I rather have? I would most likely keep Fred VanVleet for all the things that I mentioned: his playmaking, shooting, clutch, great team guy. So that's who I would pick. But again, I'm not the president of basketball operations for the Toronto Raptors. So what I want to know from you guys is, if you had to make a decision between these two players, who would you keep and who would you let go? What would be your reasons for that? Why would you decide to make that decision? If you were to keep him, how would you replace the person that you let go? So whatever you guys think, whatever your thoughts are on this particular topic, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. But I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see some of the comments that you guys leave, so we can get a better sense of what you guys would do. if you were in a position to actually make a decision on these two players. So whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed this video, we're going to link another video at the end of this video here that you guys can check out. If you enjoyed this video, most likely you'll enjoy the next one that we have. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well, because it really helps the channel. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.